On Tuesday, the 18th of June, Governor Fubara asked the heads of local government administration in the state to assume control of the 23 council areas in the state after expiration of their tenure in office. After sending the names of caretaker committee chairmen to the State House of Assembly for screening and confirmation, Governor Fubara said he resisted the pressure to extend the tenure of the outgone local government chairmen and councillors to avoid the state setting bad precedents in the country. A governor who spoke while inaugurating the caretaker committee chairman and members of the 23 local government councils at the Executive Council chambers of the Government House, Port Harcourt, said there was no way he would have allowed them to perpetuate themselves in office against their oaths. Governor Fubara urged the newly inaugurated local government caretaker committees to eschew violence, maintain peace, and be guided by the Constitution to promote unity, inclusive administration, and progress at the grassroots. The governor directed the Auditor General of Local Governments to commence the immediate audit of the accounts of the 23 council areas. He said the inauguration of the chairman would ensure seamless administration of local government areas following the expiration of tenure of elected chairmen and councillors. Despite the governor's directive, some of the former council chairmen reportedly attempted to resume office at the secretariat, but they were chased away by youths. The development sparked political tension in the state as residents protested at some of the local government secretariats. Policemen fired multiple shots into the air to disperse protesters at the various council headquarters. Now, joining me to discuss this issue is the immediate past chairman of the Kwere local government area of Rivers State, Samuel Nwanosike, and he joins me via Zoom from Rivers State. Now, we also have a legal practitioner, Evans Ofeli, who is joining me here in the studio. Good to have you, gentlemen.
Good day.
All right, so we will get to Nwanosike in just a moment, but let me start with you. I mean, you and a lawyer.
Yes.
And an independent individual who was just following the things playing out in Rivers State. And as you watch what's going on, what do you make of it? Because there are different sides of it. At what point do you think that things started to change or turn decide to turn the law on its head? I mean, that's the right word in Rivers State.
Yes. Let me say this and make it clear. I'm not just an individual. I'm partly from Rivers State.
Okay, so you have
my
a stake.
My mom was from Rivers State, from the Opobo area of Rivers State, and I was born in Rivers State. Okay, so but from Delta. Now,
so I'm speaking to a lawyer and a stakeholder.
Very well, very well. I identify with that region of the country, and that is one region that, when you talk about the economic prowess after Lagos, is Rivers State. So it's unfortunate that this is going on in Rivers State, and the puzzle started with the governor, the current governor and the outgoing governor, and that has snowballed into the local government issue, because the issue of loyalty is still the underneath layer that is playing out in the dispute. Now, this local government chairman, their tenure has expired by efflution of time. Efflution of time is a principle in law. And when you take an oath of office for a certain time, in this case for 3 years, at the expiration of that time, you cannot elongate your stay. And their argument is that the State House of Assembly actually amended the law, okay? And as such, that amendment had extended their tenure of office by 6 months, okay? They further argued that if you look at the Constitution, over the Constitution, there are times when the Constitution made this provision that where there's war and the government of the country is unable to, conduct election, there will be an extension, okay, by 6 months before they can take time to come. So they argued that the amendment the State House of Assembly did was in line with what is in the Constitution. And that was wrong, because the Constitution singled out a situation of war, wherein you can have that, you're unable to conduct election. Well, in this case, there's no war anywhere, and you cannot elongate your stay. So from our jurisprudence, it is impossible for the State House of Assembly to enact a law to elongate the stay of local government chairman. It's not done. Section 7 of the Constitution clearly states that the local government chairman will emerge through a democratic process, and that democratic process is election. And during election, the people donate their allegiance. They donate their mandate to the people who will govern them. And so they will come into office on the basis of a social contract between them and the people. Okay? Now, what you have on ground is after the efflution of time, their tenure has expired. What the governor said is that the administrators should take over. That is the same day. Only for the governor to now introduce this voyage of illegality again, because it is double illegality. I mean, this caretaker committee, it is not the intent of the legislature that, in that section 7, that people should emerge as caretaker committee or chairman of caretaker committee to run local government. It's an aberration. In fact, what the governor is doing now is not different from what the local government chairman, whose tenure has expired, the outgoing local government chairman, not different from what they wanted to do. Because in both cases, both parties had the intention to violate the Constitution, to perpetrate their stay. One, for elongation, the other, an aberration. So the two are complete illegality. That should not be
all
found.
sides have breached or broken the law, you know, by your analysis.
Yes, they have broken the law because the Constitution never envisaged caretaker committee. Most governors do it, but it's wrong, okay? And it's wrong to the extent that when you have an extant law, you do not need any other procedure other than the extant law, okay? And let me say this, what the local government, outgoing local government chairman wanted to do, in the true sense of the law, was actually treasonable. Because what's the definition of treason? Where you make an attempt to take over the country through any other means other than election, to take over the country, only part thereof. In this case, they wanted to extend their stay. That's a part thereof. The River State is a part thereof. They wanted to extend their stay, and that was treason. That was why some other person started calling for a state of emergency. Okay, it's complete treason. So that should not happen. That is not also to condone the fact that the governor should now get caretaker. This caretaker committee chairman don't have the mandate of the people. They don't, okay? Sovereignty belongs to the people, through which government derive a legitimacy. So if you set up any form of government, whether at the local level or the state level, without the input of the people, I mean, they took an oath of office for a 3-year term. So if you extend that 3-year term, you'll be in violation of the oath of office. And there'll be violation of, because the people also who donated their mandate donated it for a 3-year term. So any attempt to extend it will mean setting the law aside for your own personal aggrandizement. So that is not allowed under any circumstance. Even the governors should know that they don't have, because the argument put forth for the case of the local government chairman was that if you look at the Constitution talks about a situation of war, you are unable to conduct election. Anywhere they conduct election in Nigeria, you notice that election is conducted some months before the expiration of the tenure of office. Sorry,
I just want to state that I understand that we have Mr. Wanosike joining us now. We'll get to him in just a moment, but I want you to finish your thoughts. Before we get to him, I also want, because for those who are saying, we saw residents of River State, turn out, I think that was Monday or Tuesday, when that, crisis, went on at the different local governments, that, perhaps that's an indication of the support and the mandate of the people for the caretaker committee to come on. What would you say?
No, the caretaker committee couldn't have been the mandate of the people. Mandate is derived and orchestrated through elections. Okay? So how many persons are these people who came out to support the caretaker committee? They couldn't have represented the larger interest of the entire state. Okay, it should have been by election. So it is through election that you can ask. And the Constitution did not even make any mention of a caretaker committee. Okay? So it's by election that you emerge. And when you emerge, your tenure is for 3 years. That is what is known to law. What they have now is both sides. And they don't have any reason under which they failed to conduct or prepare for the conduct of an election. There was no reason whatsoever. They want to make reference to the Constitution. The Constitution says in instances where there is war. In this case, there's no war, so there was no reason whatsoever. So they cannot rely on that provision of the Constitution.
All right. So let me get the thoughts of it. Let's bring in Mr. Owanosike into the conversation. He has been introduced earlier. Thank you so much for joining us. He's going to speak, for the other local government chairmen who you have been talking about. Where do things stand now, Mr. Owanosike? You had talked about some days ago. You had said that you are still the local government chairman, chairman of your local government. But as at now, where do things stand?
Leonard man that is on the studio for coming to join to air his view on this matter. My name is actually Dr. Owanosike Samuel. As we speak, I'm still the executive chairman of the Ikore local government by the laws made by Right Honorable Martins Amehule's led assembly, going by the judgment of Justice Omotosho that has not been repealed by any superior court and was given by Justice Omotosho, standing on Section 272 of the Constitution of Nigeria that gives the Federal High Court the authority to talk about the tenure of House of Assembly members, vacation of their seats, deputy governor, and the governor of the state. Our learned senior is aware of the laws and the jurisdiction of Justice Omotosho's ruling. And why we are worried as citizens of River State is our governor swore an oath to uphold the Constitution of Nigeria and to defend it, and to rule us as Rivers people with the rule of law and obedience to all court orders. But we are surprised that this judgment was given on the 24th of January. And I want to plead with you, if it's possible for your studio to please screen or roll out these orders of Justice Omotosho so that we can see the prayers that he granted. And one among those prayers is clear, that the River State governor should not interfere with the activities of the River State House of Assembly because they are not in his whims and caprices. The River State of Assembly is a creation of the law. Not like he was voted for by the people of River State. They were also voted for on the same day. And so all he had was the power to pronounce the inauguration of the House, which he has exhausted. And we are surprised that people are not actually, especially our legal leaders, are quiet in what is happening in River State. They are telling us to believe that the governor has the right to choose which of the court or which of the laws of court he should obey. I don't think that is democracy our forefathers envisaged in bringing our constitution. For instance, if the Justice Omotosho's ruling says clearly that don't interfere in activities of the Martins Amehule's led assembly, wherever they want to sit, allow them sit because you did not provide security to defend their complex, you allowed it to become bombs and you destroyed it yourself. Everybody saw on national television where the governor stood in front of bulldozers and pulled down the River State House of Assembly hallowed chamber. And so now, if the House of Assembly since 24th of January 2024 have seen that the governor refused to present a budget to them, and he has been spending River State money, even Justice Omotosho said, you cannot present a budget of almost $1 trillion to four-man assembly that does not exist. These are four guys that when this crisis in the House of Assembly happened, Edison Ehie, the leader of the House, was impeached on that day. The other three members, Oko Jumbo, who is parading himself as an alternative speaker now, was also suspended from the House indefinitely. Good Hope Sokari, who is parading himself as a deputy, as a leader of the House now, was also suspended on that same day. The other fellow from the governor's local government was also suspended on that same day. Their suspensions have not been challenged. The House has not sat back to record them, like recently in the Senate. A senator from the North was suspended from the Senate. But the House looked at it, the Senate looked at it, and after, and forgave him, he has been called back. It's a legislative procedure. The governor cannot be the governor and the legislature at the same time. So if the governor feels that he can, through a press conference, he has provided executive order that House of Assembly to come and sit in the government house, and so he will sit down there and tell us that three-man assembly, even when Edison Ehie has withdrawn his case from court, I said, I am no more speaker. I was not speaker at the issue. I have resigned as a member of the Universal Assembly. I have been made chief of staff of the government. Now there are three members. You're telling Nigerians to believe that three members should pass our budget, three members should screen and swear in an attorney general, three members should bring in commissioner. This House of Assembly led by Martins Amehulle is the authentic assembly by the judgment of Justice Omotosho. The judgment of Omotosho went further to say, you must conduct local government elections. The judgment of Omotosho went ahead to say, you must not have caretaker. The judgment of Omotosho said that The laws made by Martin Samewule are the legitimate laws of Rivers State.
Dr. Wanosike, if I may come in just a minute. You have talked about how the governor seemed to be cherry-picking on the laws that he wants to respect or judgment that he wants to respect. Some people will also say the same thing, that you and the local government chairman are also cherry-picking, because there is also another high court judgment by, I think that's Dakatima Kyo, who talked about it, and that was in May, and she nullified the 6-month tenure allegation of the state's local government chairman granted by Martin Zamewule, led House of Assembly. So that's also another judgment. How is it that you are not also choosing to respect that, but you are choosing that over Motosho?
Hold on. That was an interim injunction that even our leader that knows that he has a lifespan as a Fed. And so, even before we talk about that, a judgment that was given by Motosho in January 24th, and the governor did not appeal it. From January to May, it comes to a state high court that has no jurisdiction to get an interim injunction to create crisis in Rivers State. I don't understand, even as a presenter, does it make sense to you? Let the level colleague tell Nigerians as a lawyer that is what he was taught in law school, that if a judgment came in January, you did not implement it, you did not obey it. Meanwhile, when that judgment came, the governor obeyed. The governor sent lists to the Martin Samewule House of Assembly to screen commissioners. The same governor said that you will obey laws. I was inviting the House of Assembly. They were relating properly. We had no problem. So why wait till May, from January to May? All he needed to conduct local government election was a 90 days notice to see it. The question is why? But as I'm talking to you now, because he has seen that the federal government has sent have gone to Supreme Court, for Supreme Court to do that interpretation, he has quickly come to say he wants to conduct election in October, first week of October. So why all this crisis? Why orchestrate the crisis? Not or even to, let's even go ahead to say, even in the same state high court, Justice Bassam gave a complete court ruling, not an interim injunction like a Kyo and a while again. He gave a ruling and said, you people have approached me that Martin Zamewule and 27 others seats to be vacated because they have left their political party. But before me, you have not presented any evidence to say they have left. PDP is here in court, saying they are still their members and they are in their register. APC is in court, said we have not gotten any letter from them. We have not even seen them come to register. They are still members of PDP. Based on that, Martin Zamewule is the legitimate speaker of the House of Assembly, and all laws made by him are legitimate. So where have the local government chairman gone wrong? We are just obeying. And again, the local government law is the law arranging our activities in Rivers State. Even going by the tenure our legal leader is saying there. Don't forget, before 1999, local government chairman tenure were 4 years. It was some governors that wanted to take control of the third tier that went through their House of Assembly, mark my word, through their House of Assemblies, and amended tenures. Some states have 2 years tenure, while some states have 3 years tenure. When you do an election, the normal tenure is supposed to be 4 years. But because of their personal aggrandizement and control, they want to control Mr. President, they want to also come back and control the third tier. This is not democracy. So we are saying the Rivers House of Assembly led by Martin Zamewule has set the ball rolling. And our tenure still has 5 months and 26 days running. And we are doing our best to make sure that we govern the people of our local government by the rule of law. We don't want crisis. For now, all matters are in the Court of Appeal in Port Harcourt. And they have asked everybody to maintain status quo. And again, the Inspector General of Police and the CP have said all parties stay calm, cease all hostilities, don't take any step until Court of Appeal rules this matter. And that is what we are. All of a sudden, we saw the governor and his chief of staff bring that criminals and cultists that have left Rivers State so long to come and start invading council. A chief of staff who is being fingered in burning down the House of Assembly is busy moving in 1 day with security agents attached to the governor's ADC, that led to the death of a police officer and a vigilante chairman.
Right, Dr. Wanosike, we're very wary of allegations and speculations that we cannot substantiate, especially when it's against individuals. Just a minute, Dr. Wanosike. I want the lawyer to respond to some of the things you have said as regards the 2 cases in court. One of them, Mr. Evans-Valley, one of them had been, there is judgment already.
Yes.
That's the one of the local government tenure elongation.
Yes, in the Court of Appeal now.
And the other one is the one in the Court of Appeal. So there are 2 of them. One that has to do with the tenure elongation, and the other one that has to do with the legitimacy of the Amewule-led State House of Assembly. I want you to respond to those 2 laws and which one really concerns this particular matter of the local government?
Yes.
Justice Omotoso judgment has to be talked about too, ma'am. Please.
Yes, as regards the issue under reference, we have seen that both sides, from what I have deduced from the case, that is why early enough I said that the governor was wrong to have come up with the caretaker committee. Now, the State House of Assembly members, okay, also cannot elongate and entrench themselves by virtue of the provision of law. They cannot do that. Now, on the issue of the elongation of their office, which is now a question of appeal right now, there was a judgment already that said that you cannot actually extend your office. That is constitutionally wrong to do so. And it went on appeal. That appeal is yet to be determined. Okay? It's yet to be determined.
He's also referring to another one that was in January that had talked about, not interfering in the whole local government administration until election conduct. So
yes. The court even gave an order that the governor should, ensure that election is conducted to fill in the space, okay, after the expiration of the tenure. That was not done, and that was the undoing of the governor. Because by now, you ought to have conducted the election 3 months before the expiration.
So because I really also want us to take, in, because we really have to look at it in terms of what the law actually says, if any law has been breached. Because Dr. Wanosike is saying, if you did not conduct elections in that period since January where, that judgment was given,
yes,
and then we are still well within our right to stay in office.
No, that would be wrong. If you look at the Constitution, the only reason the Constitution gave is when there's a time of war and you're not able to conduct elections. Then they can remain in office for a period. Okay? The State House of Assembly, led by Amaule, now amended the local government law to the effect, like a semblance of what you have in the Constitution. But the only thing now that is not there is the issue of war. I don't know what you're saying.
I do.
So now what you have now, the State House of Assembly is now saying, for whatsoever reason, as long as you do not conduct election within the set time, the State House, the local government chairman will have to be in office for 6 months until you're able to conduct election and all that. You understand? So, but that is not the law, because the State House of Assembly itself does not have that capacity to elongate the tenure of their office. It cannot. It doesn't have the right to do so under the law. It can't do so because the Constitution in Section 7 said that you will emerge as a local government chairman by virtue of a democratic election, democratically. And what democracy means here is that it does not mean you should extend the only reason given by the Constitution, not even related to local government, but related to other offices, House of Assembly, National Assembly, and the rest of that. That's the one the Constitution reference. As for the local government, there is no time. It is stated in law that they should have an elongation. Even the National Assembly and the House of Assembly, they cannot also have an elongation except there's war, and that the government is unable to conduct election within the period. So that is where the whole thing is different. So in this case, it is wrong for the State House of Assembly to make a law to elongate, and that is why the court quashed that law and said it's not constitutionally right.
All right. So, Dr. Wanosike, I want you to respond to the lawyer. He has said that your decision to stay in office is not backed by any law, any of the judgment, but by the decision or it was a decision or some sort of I think that was a decision from the Amewole-led assembly to elongate your tenure by 6 months, which in itself the lawyer says is an illegality. How do you respond to that?
First of all, I don't know if the law is aware that before 1999, local government administrations in Nigeria had a 4-year term.
That's correct.
Good. Now, that it was the instrumentation of the various House of Assembly in Nigeria that went back because of the intention of some governors who want to use local government as an instrument to keep themselves in office, to amend the laws of those tenures, to bring them from states now, as we talk in Nigeria, have 2 years as tenure of local government chairman. Some states have 3 years as tenure of local government chairman. So going by what the lawyer is saying, he is aware that Section 7.1 did not mention specifically how many months, how many years that is there for the tenure. It is in the wings and capacities of the House of Assembly. That is why in Zamfara State, the Zamfara State House of Assembly has extended the tenure of the local government chairman because the governor is saying, based on insecurity, I can't conduct local government election. It's there. Even in Akwa Ibom State, the House of Assembly has extended the tenures of the local government chairman by 6 months. So I think our learned leaders should address us properly, putting every ingredient together. For us,
in those cases, nobody has gone to court. Yours have been quashed.
Excuse me, sir. Let me finish. No, excuse me. You should ask. An interim injunction was given by Gio because somebody was in a court, in Justice Welly's court, without joining us. They asked us to join. We joined. They left the case, parties the same, matters the same, everybody the same, and ran away and went to another state court, behind the door, without joining us, and gave an order. We now have come again through our lawyers in Court of Appeal, saying in this law that you passed, it has steps, Section 8 of the Constitution. Go to it, you will see. It's only one leg of it. We have filed a stay of execution in Court of Appeal. And Court of Appeal, I think, head of, have given 7th of July and said all parties maintain status quo. Don't do anything. Let the lawyer tell us if we are illegal to remain in office. And he has agreed that the governor failed in conducting local government election and he cannot bring caretaker. Because even the case filed by the Attorney General of the Federation in the Supreme Court, it is stated there that caretaker is illegal and should not be formed in any state. And local government chairman tenure should not be tampered by governors. That is what the Attorney General, the prayers is asking for. All parties are presented and judgment have been reserved by the Supreme Court. Why will the governor create crisis in our state? By bringing criminals and thugs to invade local government councils. In fact, the governor went ahead of seizing our allocation 3 months before now, even while we were in office. He withheld our allocation and told his Attorney General to write on the back to bypass our signatory. As we speak, we worked for 3 months before even the 17th of June without a penny. That is not the democracy our founding fathers prayed for. And that's why we are commending Mr. President for taking the bold step of going the right route by going to the Supreme Court, the Constitutional Court. Let this be interpreted once and for all, and let Nigeria have true democracy of the treaty we are asking for.
All right, so the lawyer wants to respond to some of the things you said, Mr.
Yes,
Philip.
in the 2 states he mentioned where there's an extension of the tenure of the local government, nobody had gone to court to challenge it. Okay, the court will not jump into it. In Rivers State, when the State House of Assembly did that, made that amendment, somebody went to court, okay, and that amendment was quashed. And the principle of law is this: even if you are going on appeal, the last judgment or ruling delivered is the law until the appeal is determined. Okay? So on the basis of that, he cannot say that their tenure still runs. It's not possible to say so because the last ruling or judgment on the issue under reference had quashed the decision of the State House of Assembly. So how would that subsist when there's a substantive ruling against it? Okay? As regards the local government tenureship and all that, the federal government is in court, which for me I consider as one of the most fortunate news of the Nigerian state today, because the governors of states have been very arbitrary with local government. I must say this. Okay? Governors of state used to wind up arbitrary, democratically elected local government tenures. They'll wind it up and bring caretaker committee legally. They will not release the funds meant for local government just because Section 162 of the Constitution made a joint account provision. And so they are not able to recognize the local government as a third tier of government. They will make sure that the local government have no life of its own. And then the federal government now is in court to say that the local government must exist as an entity, must have its independence and autonomy, and must, function as a government, just like the state government and the federal government. We are yet to get a decision on that one. But in the interim, okay, the last decision on this River State matter is that the State House of Assembly have no such right. So that is the law for now until that particular...
All right, so I will let you respond, Dr. Wanosike. We need to go to break. When we return, I will give you the right of